Well, I don't think I was ever neglecting my son. Hmm. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. So why do you think that is? I mean, what do you mean when you say trauma? I'm not sure I really understand. Because he still had people taking care of him, didn't he? I mean, I think he did. Oh, oh, okay. All right, that makes a little more sense. Okay. Good, good. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that I'm doing the right things to help him recover from his past experiences. Okay, all right, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so now Joanna and I are going to switch roles. So I'm going to be the clinician. We're going to do the same scenario. So it'll be another um, infant whose needs weren't being met. I'm going to switch it up a little. So Joanna will be the foster mother who's getting the young son who's not developing um, emotionally and cognitively how she would expect him to based on his previous um, placements that he's been in. Okay? All right. Hi, Joanna. How are you doing today? I'm good, thanks. So tell me a little bit about your son, your foster son. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the attachment bond between a mother and a child. So the early stages of a child's life, like infancy, are like the most important for brain development. So at that stage is when you're talking to your baby and you're playing with them, you're building all these neurons in the brain. Not to get too technical, but when you have those conversations and you play with your baby and you're meeting all of your baby's needs, it helps them grow and it helps build that attachment between you and your baby. But because your foster son wasn't born to you, and he was in a few placements before you, he was never fully able to build that attachment. And so what happens is his brain hasn't been able to fully develop to the place that it should be. You see what I mean by that? And so what happens is he's not really able to process his emotions the same way. He doesn't have that same bond, and his brain is a little bit behind where you would expect it to be at this point. So he might not be showing the same cognitive abilities that you might expect because like I was saying, when you have those conversations, it actually physically builds neurons in the brains that helps them develop and grow and mature. Um, and so without that experience, it's going to be a little bit difficult for him to adapt to new situations and kind of process his experiences a little bit more. And that might be why you're seeing a little bit of a delay, in his fine motor skills and his gross motor skills, and why you don't see him, reaching those milestones that you might expect. You know what I mean? It is. It is hard. And the best thing you can do at this point is to continue to do what you're doing. Meet those needs, and acknowledge how he feels, help him identify his emotions. Oftentimes when children experience trauma experiences, they're not as in tune with their emotions. So helping him kind of recognize how he's feeling and processing things a little bit more would be really great, you know, and you just want to continue to do what you're doing. And if you see him maybe regressing and acting a little bit younger than he is, sometimes it's okay to go with that, you know, and meet those needs and treat him as the age that he's acting. Even if you're like, no, you're older than that, act your age. It's okay to still baby him and because he never had those needs met. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you want to continue to just talk to him and play with him. And I think those are the most important things you can do to kind of overcome those experiences, is just to you know, to talk to him and help rebuild any neurons that didn't develop in his brain at the time, to help regain that brain development so he can really, because what happens is the way your brain grows, it affects all aspects of your body. So you might not think like it has to do with like fine motor skills or language, but like everything is connected. You know, his language and that when he learns to write write it with a pencil and everything. So just to continue to do what you're doing, you know. Unfortunately, trauma is very common, you know, especially with young children. It's often passed down from generation to generation, you know, from families that never had the full knowledge of how to parent. You know, they think they're doing it right and they don't know, you know, and then you have situations, yeah, then you have situations like this, and they're in different homes and never have the opportunity to really build that bond that's expected and needed, like truly needed for a strong, you know, development. Does that make sense? Okay. Great, great. I'm so glad.